Hi again then guys, so we've got another special projects tune for you today, and it's another replica. This time it's a replica which is very close to my heart really, because it's one of my personal favourite cars in the real world, based on one of my favourite cars that's already on Gran Turismo. The car is, as you can see, the TVR Cerbera Speed 12, or the Blackpool Beast. And the replica that we're making of this car is actually a replica of the first generation Cerbera Speed 12, which was known as the 7-12. And this is a replica of the GT1 version of that racing car, which was restricted significantly in its power, but had a great low weight, great power to weight ratio, and was still an absolute beast to drive. So first of all, I'll show you what I've done to get the visual look of this car, and then we'll go over to the track for the tuning side of things. So first of all, for our external modifications, obviously there's not that much that you can do to the Cerbera because of its not being a premium car, which is a shame. But for the custom rear wing, to get that authentic racing look, we've gone for the Type A wing support, which you can also get in silver. Both look pretty good. I've gone for the Type B wing shape itself, which gives you this little bump in the centre of the wing rather than having a flat top section. And then we've gone for the Type B winglets on the end, just to suit really the overall flow of the body. Then for the size of the wing, we've gone for 2 on height and 9 on width to give that overall look. For the rims, we've gone for the largest size of rims, and we've gone for the BBS REMG wheels, which are very similar to the actual Speed 12 GT1's rims. Obviously you can't fit additional meters on a non-premium car. And as far as the paint, got a very simple colour scheme on this one. Obviously you don't have to stick to this, I've just gone for white in homage really of the original GT1, with its white paint job with blue detailing. But for the body colour, as you can see, we've gone for Scotia White, which you can get from the Mitsubishi FTO, as well as a few other Mitsubishis, but it's a very pure, clean looking white. I've gone for that colour for the wing as well. And for the rims, we have gone for black, obviously, but the particular black is Black Venom, which comes from the 2013 Viper. It's a black that I use quite often, but pretty much any black will do as long as it's dark. And again, obviously you don't have to do the same colour. And as far as the brakes, we've gone for the same again, Black Venom. Most people I know don't like having black brakes, but I just wanted to have the whole wheel section of the car to just blend right into the body, so that the overall silhouette of the car would be the main thing that catches your eye rather than some crazy coloured brakes. But that's it for the visual side of tuning for this car. So now let's go over to the technical garage to see what we've done underneath. So for our mechanical tuning, we've got our racing soft tyres as always. For suspension, we've got the ride height slightly different front to rear, because the Speed 12 does have kind of a slammed back end a bit more than the front, so we want to get that look to be right. So we've got the front as low as possible, the ride height 15mm higher at the back. Springs we've increased to 1075 and 725, dampers and anti-roll to 5. Camber, surprisingly for a TVR, we've actually got quite low on this one, only 2 front and rear, and you'll see the reason for that when we take it out on the track. And of course we've got toe neutral as always. For the gearbox, obviously this is not a top speed car, so we've just gone for a simple top speed or simple gearbox setting of 230, and then we've rounded off the gears as you can see there, so just compare those against yours, with a final drive of 3.3. For the diff, we've got 30 on initial torque, then maximum acceleration and the lowest braking sensitivity. For our power, we've done none of the upgrades. This does have an oil change though on this particular model, and then if you have given it an oil change, you'll need to restrict it to 80.7. If you haven't given it an oil change, you'll be able to have that restrictor a little bit higher, because obviously the power won't be as high to begin with. Downforce we've got as high as possible, obviously, you want both of your weight loss options. And then, just to improve the weight balance of this car, we've got a ballast weight of 57 kilos. We've put that all the way to the back of the car to improve the weight distribution. And the reason why we've increased it by 57 is to make it so it has the exact power and weight as the original GT1 spec car, which has around 675 horsepower. Some say 660, but we're going for 675, and it weighs exactly 1 ton. So power to weight ratio, as you can see, of 675 horsepower per ton. And the PP is a little bit strange on this one. It's 613. And anyone who's watched my tunes before will know that I do like to try and round off my tunes to a significant point, say 600 or 625. So this one's a little bit different, but with this tune, this is more of a pure pleasure replica rather than something to be used to win races. Now obviously it can win races, and you'll obviously want to adjust the power depending on what PP you need to use it for. But this is basically the blank canvas for you guys to work from. So I've made this a replica of the real car, and then you just need to adjust it as to what PP you would rather use it for. But this, as it is at the moment, is basically the baseline of what the real car specs are. So 675 horsepower, 1,000 kilos. So that's it for our mechanical tuning. Now let's go out to the track and see how it performs. Now, I've actually tested this particular replica on a number of different tracks. Usually I only test my replicas on, say, 1 or 2 circuits, but on this one it's more a car that I really love, so I decided to use it a bit more than usual. So the tracks that I've tested this one on, the first track that I tested it on after building it was Silverstone. Then I tested it here on the Nürburgring Ring, and I've also used it on Sierra. That was actually in a public cruise lobby. Now, interestingly, on all 3 tracks, it performs really well, but the strongest of the 3 is definitely the Nürburgring, and that's actually exactly how I expected it to turn out. I built this car primarily to be the kind of car that really defies what people think of the Speed 12. Most people are scared of this car. They won't admit to it, but at the same time they'll never use it because it is one of the most difficult cars to get the best out of. Now, I'm not saying that I've got the best out of this car. I would never claim that out of any of my tunes. But what I will say is that if you do fit this tune setup to your Speed 12, I guarantee you will be surprised at just how good this car drives. Now, the handling, funnily enough, is actually the exact opposite to what I expected it to be like immediately after I built the car. I expected the car to be quite leery, to still be spinning up its wheels all the time and trying to get the back end out on every corner. But it's actually the exact opposite to that, which really shocked me. The handling is actually very heavy, it's very tight, the whole car feels extremely pent up, as it were. You can feel that the car really wants to go faster all the time, which isn't surprising considering it's a Speed 12. But considering how heavily the engine is restricted, and it is restricted a lot compared to its standard power, it performs very well. For a 675 horsepower car, it's very quick, and its PP, happily, is actually quite low considering how quick the car is around the track. As you saw from earlier, it's only a 613 pp car. But around the Nürburgring, on my first attempt, which is the one you see here, I did a 6.5 minute lap, which is significantly quicker than many other cars of its type with that PP level. Now, comparing that to, say, its main rival, which would arguably be the Lister Storm, the Lister has significantly more power, if you fully tune it, about 200 horsepower more, also weighs significantly more, 450 kilos give or take, but despite having 200 horsepower more and being significantly higher in its PP, and let's not forget this is a road car, although it is based on a racing car, it is a road car, it is faster than the Lister Storm around the Nürburgring. Now, around Sierra, incidentally, this car can do a sub 8 minute lap, which is pretty good for Sierra. It's not among the quickest, but it is pretty good. I can't remember the lap it did on Silverstone, but I know it was pretty quick on there as well. But it definitely feels at its best here on the Nürburgring Ring. The handling is phenomenal. You do have to wrestle with the car to really get a feel for how to use it best. But I have to say I'm very impressed by how good this car turns out to be when you turn it into really a track car, a pure racing machine. The weight is brilliant. The grip is shockingly good. There is a colossal amount of grip. The brakes do a superb job of scrubbing off the car's power. And although obviously the top speed is significantly slower than usual, it's around 200 miles per hour because of the downforce and the reduced power, the acceleration, especially mid-range, is still superb. So overall, I'm very proud of this tune and I love driving this car. So I hope you guys enjoy driving this car as well. I hope you find this tune helpful. And I would recommend changing some of the settings to really suit it to your style. But that's it for this setup. So I'll see you guys next time. And as always, thanks for watching.